So this tutorial will be how to be able to modify the pitch and the speed of any video from any device. And the main bulk of this will be essentially making a few bookmarks in your Chrome browser. You will need, if you look in the search bar of these two tabs, you will need the playback rate code and the preserves pitch false. These two lines of JavaScript code, you'll put these into the URL of some bookmarks, and of course with the playback rate, modify the playback speed to whatever you desire. And once you've got the code in, you will then go to the Chrome Web Store and to search for remote desktop. And I've already got it, but if you don't have it yet, it will say like add extension or something like that right there. Simply go ahead and do so. It's free to do so, so add that. Then once you have the remote desktop, you will simply search for the Transpose extension, pitch and speed loop for videos. This is free as well. That's what it looks like. Once again, if you don't have it yet, add extension, and it should pop up as long as you have them showing up here at the top right. Your extensions on the Chrome web browser from PC. Once you've got those two extensions, you've got both of those downloaded. They're both free as well. Once you have those, we will get on to the coding here. So for the coding, I've got both of the lines of code. Both of the lines of code you'll need here in these two tabs. So simply make a new tab, and you can right-click on virtually any of your current bookmarks in the bookmarks bar. Like go to this one, for example, I'm going to simply hit add folder right there. Under the, I'll make sure it's under the bookmarks bar and that you're not adding a folder to a folder, right? Just bookmarks bar. Simply change, you'll say this to like either playback or transpose, but because I'm showing you how, I'll just do playback example, right? And I now, if I can move that, now have that folder right here. It is empty so far. I can right click once more, hit add page, and make sure it is under your folder, the bookmark. Name, you want to name this setting after either the desired playback rate or the key you wish to transpose your media by. So for this one, I'll just use an example. I'll simply call this, here, I should actually copy my code first, I'm going to go ahead and copy the document query selector video playback rate. And for this setting, I will set the playback rate to 1.5 times playback rate. Simply copy that line of code, and I will be pasting these lines of code in the description, so you can simply just Control-C, Control-V these into your bookmarks. Back over to, so over to here, back into my folder here, add page, title this setting simply the 1.5 times, just leave it at that for the name, and paste in the URL tab. You will Control-V this line of code, make sure it says JavaScript to be specific in case some error like it glows red or some error pops up. JavaScript document query selector video playback rate 1.5 times. Save under the playback example folder, at least for me anyway. Then I go to that, you should see like that globe icon with 1.5 times and that line of code available. Now I can test this if for example, most likely you will need this for YouTube, for example. Go to a video here, go to a song here on YouTube. I should go to my folder. So here is just the standard 1 times normal playback. So there is standard playback. I go to my folder here. So my bookmarks bar, my folder that has my 1.5 times line of code for that setting. Assuming that your code was put in correctly and that you successfully made this bookmark, this will now play back at 1.5 with the click of that button right there. So I guess a small mistake on my behalf, I wasn't aware that if there is a bookmark with that setting that already has that function in a separate folder, it won't work. So I'm gonna go to my main playback folder, where I have far more settings put in, from 0.065 times playback at the slowest and times 16 for the fastest. I can go to my current playback folder that I already have for all these playback settings and hit 1.5, and you will see with that line of code and that button, it will accelerate the playback. and that is faster. I can go, I've got way more settings. This is the same line of code, but after the equal sign, set the number. The range is anywhere from like 0.06, I think, to times 16. I can set this way faster to like times 8, for example, and this is now a real-time time lapse, essentially. And that is quite clearly way faster. So now for the key change as well is I'm going to go ahead and not make the same mistake and just use my current folder, although I will actually, just to show the process of making it, I will once again right click on anything up here in the bookmarks bar and go add folder. Once again, make sure this is under bookmarks bar and not a current folder, and hit, I'll just title this Transpose example. And under this you will put, if I go to my preserves pitch line of code here for the tuning, I once again, let's put JavaScript beforehand to not confuse it, is I copy that line of code, add a new page under this folder, and I'll title it, also to clarify that you're activating it, is I'll put something like Transpose according to playback for the name. Then under the URL, once again, you gotta copy and paste that line of code into the URL for the JavaScript code for it. You're setting, for this one, you're setting the preserves pitch to false, and what this does essentially is that by default it's turned on, and that means that whenever you increase or decrease the playback speed, the key will stay the same, and it won't change the pitch. To change that, copy this line of code, set it to false right there, turn it off. Once this is set to false, the pitch will now change when you modify the playback speed. So I'm going to save this here. Then I'm going to actually make another page here in the same tab. I'm going to title this one No Transposition regardless of playback, and set it back to true. So like copy and paste the same line of code back in, but after the equal sign, set this line of code for the preserve pitch to true, to turn it back on with that option, whenever I want to go back to modifying playback speed without modifying the key. So there's those two as well. Those two are in there. Then to actually modify the key, you will simply add more pages. You'll be hitting add page quite a few times, obviously. Back out of this folder is, if I want to transpose the audio, the key of the audio of whatever I'm listening to, +1 semitone, that will be a playback speed of 1.06, essentially. And you can do so, I will be linking, also be showing more lines of code, the lines of code for each key under the Transpose folder. The exact playback rate needed for each key to go a full octave in either direction, to go up to +12 or -12, right? I'll put those in the description, the line of code for each one. Then playback speed, same thing. Anywhere from 0.06 is, it actually, the playback speed is pretty self-explanatory. For the playback speed is just simply put in whatever speed you want after that equal sign, and you can simply save that setting as a bookmark under that folder. And I cannot actually demonstrate the Chrome Web Store, the remote desktop. I don't think I can demonstrate this on the PC while filming, because that may stop filming. But essentially, you go onto your phone, and once you actually download the extension, once you download remote desktop, and you open things up, you basically just have to get your PC online, and there's, like, make a pin for it to hook things up, add a pin for it, then make sure to get the app, the Chrome Remote Desktop app, on your phone, and open the app and find yourself, basically, find your own computer on the phone app, and just hook up to that. It'll ask you for the pin that you just made, put it in, and you should connect to your own PC, viewing the monitor of your PC quite nicely. And you can access right here in the bookmarks bar if you go onto Chrome, assuming that your PC is already on Chrome. or YouTube as an example, you can access these folders here, the bookmarks here, from the app, tap on these, and you can actually apply this to technically from the computer, but you're viewing it from your phone. And I'm pretty sure your audio has to be connected to the phone because it is borrowing that from the PC. And I'm sure you can watch a Chrome remote desktop tutorial for further explanation and details on that, to actually see that in action. Is once you've got these lines of code put in, you made a new folder and then a new page under that new folder, and you copy and paste these lines of code from the description below as its own setting, as its own page on each folder. You can simply modify the pitch and the speed of any video, and then using the Chrome remote desktop, if you get that hooked up and work that correctly, you can access your PC from your phone and play that from your phone as well. And you have options. Remember the Transpose extension from earlier? I can set this back to normal here. If I could go like playback 1, no transposition, turn those off, all that off, like back to normal speed, right? If I don't like, because technically, under the Transpose, the code for the Transpose options, the key changes rely on a modification of the playback speed. And if you don't like that and you want to do those individually, the extension does just that. It can modify Transpose an octave either way, and the pitch, you can actually like fine-tuning the pitch, or you can speed up to 4-speed or quarter speed independently from the extension. Once again, on any video, from any platform, on any device, assuming that you're using the remote desktop, viewing the PC from your phone, that should work as well. And that is an alternative to the coding here, of the bookmarks here, if you don't like the fact that the speed changes as well on the transposition of the key. That is basically all there is to cover. Hope you enjoyed, hope that helped. I gave an example here of what lines of code to use, what lines of code to put in to the URL tab of the new page on the bookmarks in Chrome, and then the extension, and then how to actually view the same bookmarks from your phone using the remote desktop. That is essentially as good as I can do for now to cover that. Hope that was helpful, and if you liked, make sure to like and subscribe to show support, and I will be putting the lines of code that you need, essentially like the lines of code that I used for my playback settings, in the description, and simply put each one of those as a new page under each bookmark, under either playback or transpose these two bookmarks. I can actually go ahead and delete these whole folders now. Is under each of these bookmarks, playback and transpose. Each one of these have to be a new page, and each page has to have a separate line of code. It's actually the same code, but a different playback setting. And make sure transpose to add these first two options, where you disable the preserve pitch, off or on, the first two options. Then the pitch modifications are simply just playback speed modifications, but they do not have, like, if this is turned on, the pitch will change as well in regards to playback speed, in regards to chosen playback speed, a full octave either way, and you could go far more than that, but the distortion is far too heavy and it wouldn't sound too good and potentially bug things. So I'll put all those codes in the description on how to use those, and this is how you can, with these two bookmarks, remote desktop, and then this extension, you can modify the key or the tempo of any media, any live audio, video and audio, on any platform from any device. Hope that was helpful, and hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.